Oh.
Hey, Dr. Keith.
Hey, Ricky. How you doing?
I'm great. You ready for Love Your Bones?
Yep, always ready for Love Your Bones.
Here we are. It's time for Love Your Bones.
And it's like I got all these smiles. I'm going blind.
I know. I always bring you
Those
beautiful
smiles
women.
are those smiles kind of like on a cold
I
day.
always bring you beautiful women to talk
I'm
to,
just
Dr.
saying.
Keith. You're
I'm
so
just saying.
blessed.
I'm
You're so
just saying.
blessed.
I'm
Wow.
always that
Wow.
doggone thorn between roses.
We love you though.
Mm.
So this is my beautiful, beautiful friend, badass another badass. Here you go, Benita Perkins. And gosh, how long have I known you, Benita? Like a long time.
Oh, can we say South Orange? So how long is that?
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
What?
She lived in South Orange, right? I lived in West Orange. So I lived there. Well, oh my gosh, right?
Yes. That's 30 years.
That's 30 years. Yeah.
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 What?
Yeah. I lived there. Well, I lived there when Amanda was born, like 85 to, and then I moved to Atlanta in 96.
You've
Right,
been all
okay.
over the place.
Yeah. But wow. All right. So she's going to tell you about all the things that she does
Mm.
to keep healthy.
I got a whole
Yes,
bunch
to
of questions.
You do. All right.
Yeah,
So why don't we let her tell her story and what she does, and then you could fire up her questions, Dr.
You said her story?
Her story. Yeah, you see, I got on my Black History scarf today.
Okay.
I see.
For Black
Yeah,
history.
that's
I don't.
I get you. I
Black
pick up a
History
lot of
Month.
stuff from Ricky. You know, she
Yeah.
needs to be on the right page.
But I don't love Black History Month, but everybody celebrates us because guess what? I'm still Black on March 1st, and I was Black a week ago, right? I mean,
you're Black at Christmas.
I was Black Christmas, yeah. So we're all Black, 24/7, 365. But I do think we have to give the world its
Right.
time.
Yeah, it's an understanding of how and what we've gone through and what we've contributed and what we're doing today.
Yeah, that we're doing today, and we are
Kind of a force
making histories and her stories every day. All right. So what's her story, Benita?
Okay, so I have a company called Benny Girl Healthy Lifestyle Branding and Communication. And it started with an exercise video. I was on Wall Street, some finance, didn't like what I was doing. Started taking some step classes in the go-go 80s. Fell in love with it. And I have a dance background, so the movement piece was always kind of.
I used to love the Jane Fonda step video.
Yeah, right. No,
Right.
That kind of missed me. Like I didn't do the actual videos, but I started taking step classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember falling all over the step, but just the rhythmic of it, the choreography of it, the whole thing, the creativity of it. I was like, oh, everybody should be doing this. And then I started thinking about, looking around at my own family, different health issues, different things I was seeing. My father passed away of a lot of different issues dealing with healthy lifestyle. So I was like, I thought about this video. I said, everybody should be stepping, So I did this gospel step video, gospel music, upbeat house music. And that kind of got me into the journey of where I am now with this whole wellness piece. It became a conversation of how are we reaching women of color to have this conversation. The timing is a lot better now. Back in say 2000, we weren't as cognizant of our health as we are now. So even if we're not practicing it, it's up here, we're thinking about it. And that is an incredible step that I've seen us take from say 15 years ago as being people of color. So that was a start. And I've been doing events focused on healthy lifestyle, working with sponsors, organizations that want to support that message and want to have be recognized for that message, and making sure that I'm able to provide information that is going to save lives. I'm more interested in quality of life. So our focus is not so much illness as much as it's wellness. I don't want to talk about hypertension, We don't want to talk about, heart disease. We want to talk about what are we doing to make our lives the best they can be. And so fitness is one of the pieces I've really focused in on, but there's a lot of different pieces of what wellness looks like. And, so I dabble in nutrition. We talk about mind, body, but it's all part of that quality of life that, that I want everyone, women of color, to be part of. So
I love how you say you don't want to talk about illness, you want to talk about wellness, and we don't talk about any of this.
It's always, well, do you have hypertension? You gotta exercise, watch your salt. And there's so much more to that, in terms of how you live, and how you're able to move and not have limitations that you can't travel or play with your grandkids or just do mundane things a lot of people really have a problem doing.
My mom is turning 90 in April, and she has pretty serious COPD. She's on oxygen and she's in a wheelchair. She probably smoked till she was 50, which probably caused her lung issues, but I just bought her this like fancy wheelchair that's all automatic, and she has this new level of freedom that she hasn't had because she really just can't walk very far. Mm-hmm. But I just took her to Charleston, and the whole concept from every minute from when we left the house till because she almost turned the wheelchair over in the
oh, no.
to the street to get into the Uber, but because she's still getting used to it, and she drove into the rocks, like a thing almost fell over. But the concept of traveling with a wheelchair, with somebody in a wheelchair, is a whole nother conversation. And I think about all the people that it really made me think about having disabilities and like just not being able to move and not being able to take care. Now she's granted almost 90, so it's okay for her to be that way. But how many Black people are that way in their 50s?
In their 50s, in their 60s, people we know
that can't walk.
Girl, I can't do that. That's too much walking or whatever. And you're like, really?
Right?
This is scary.
It is scary. And it's like, it makes you think, I'm so blessed to be able to walk, but how many people just aren't healthy and aren't
or thinking that way.
Right.
Thinking that way.
Right. And we talk about bones on this show, and we like, but if your bones aren't healthy, nothing's working.
And that's what exercise is such an important piece of bone health. I know I've been doing some research, and so I know that, after 40, there's a slow, steady loss of bone density. So, we have to fight, that natural progression of time that's happening with us, and doing the kinds of things, the resistance training and muscle joint bearing exercises are the kinds of things that help to keep, that tissue strong and sometimes even rebuilding it. Because if you don't do that, that's where you get into, especially as you get older, the falls that can be the end of your, end of everything for you, just because you didn't have, you broke bones. My mother takes Zumba classes, and my mother is 92. And because of what I do, she started exercising. She's always like swam, but swimming is not the kind of thing that helps with bones, right? But it is a great cardio exercise thing. Mm-hmm. And so, she just took a trip to the Panama Canal. To your point, she has her walker. She makes sure she tries to be as independent as possible. But I contend, and she's fallen several times.
Yeah.
Like
more than about the falling man.
Every time he's never broken a bone. Mm-hmm. Has not had fractures. So she believes that Zumba class and that standing upright and moving around and putting the body weight on her skeletal muscles is what saved her. And I have to agree with her with that.
What she feels and what she thinks is backed up factually.
Right.
So that ability. So there's two things that was interesting that you said. And I don't know if it was intuitive or it's just you already knew that bones are tissue and tissue are living things. And the way bones work, the more pressure you put on it on a regular basis, the stronger they get. And so what she's doing is exactly what she needs to do.
And doing it, it doesn't stop.
Right.
You just keep pushing and pushing. And like now she's at the point where she gets dizzy. So I'm like, well, we got to get in the chair. And that was one of my, it's not as effective, but one of the classes that I've had a lot of demand for is chair Zumba or chair exercising for populations that do have balance issues, right? And need to still move. And so you're not necessarily bearing the full weight, because that's the most optimal way to maintain your bone health, is to bear full weight, whether it's marching or running or, and the more you impact, which as you get older, you can't do that. You can't do the jumping and the things that are really probably the most effective for your bone health. But there's still stuff, it's still going to count.
But can I ask you a question? See, there's one thing, we're telling people what to do, but let's be realistic. We need people like you to inspire people, because the people, oh, here's a life coach. Well, you're a coach because a lot of people don't believe it. I wanted to go back. I was at the airport not too long ago, like 15 minutes.
Oh, that's what you said. Well, you slid on.
And the point was, I saw what you were talking about. And then I moved from the South, Florida, and I could see at the airport how people look different, how their movement, how more relaxed, more tired, more fixed in place. And then in certain areas where it's like hustle and bustle, like you're in New York, you're in Boston, you run at the airport, and there's a different vibe, a different flow of the people that you come in contact with in the city versus, I mean, and I'm not trying to put anything negative on the South, but hotter climate, not a lot of activity, people out in the sun a lot, so they're indoors trapped.
It's one of the things that brought me down here. I mean, I was up in New Jersey and went to an event down here, and up north we are blessed with a overabundance of this kind of information and these kinds of things and these kinds of events. And every month there might be 100 events that you can go to about your health. Not so much down here. And so I saw the demand. And to your point, I mean, we don't do, weight shaming or the obesity thing, but it's a conversation. It's what I saw.
Yeah.
It's what I saw. And I saw it in a way that, at any weight you can be healthy, but to your point, what I was seeing was people just trying to make it down the mall.
Right.
Just trying to get to point A to point B. So beyond, I mean, we're talking about bones, but we're just talking about just being aware.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important for what you do, is because people need to be inspired. I mean, you have coaches out there that inspire their team to go on to greatness, but who's that coach in your life? Because, what did you say before? It's like, well, I'm old. I guess I can't do that anymore, but you can.
But you can.
Or it's God's will.
Yeah. But see, I flipped that around. That God's will stuff doesn't work, because God gave us the ability.
Thank you.
To move our bodies.
Move our bodies, and to inspire people to inspire us to move our bodies.
Right.
But these are the kinds of things you hear
right.
and justify. And I will say this, it is getting much better in terms of our awareness in our response to a conversation. I remember when I was vending the video, and I would be at different events. There was the Gospel Music Association event, and Baptist this and whatever. And so there'd be a conference, and I'd have my table, and I'd have my at the time it was a video. I'd have a
It's
trailer.
a VHS, not a beta, right?
I'm dating myself, right? And I remember this couple walking by me, and she came over. She was of a certain size, and she came over and took a look at the video, and then started looking at the trailer. It was like, And her man came up to her, took the video out of her hand and said, "You don't need that, baby. I like you just the way you are." And off they walked. Some said, off they walked. And that's when I said, you know what? I need to figure out what I'm dealing with here. I need to
because
understand what I'm
there's a fine line, because he's right, but then he can't. If he says something that not necessarily embarrasses someone,
Right, or makes her feel bad, right?
feel bad, then it's not, it doesn't help. But there has to be a way for him to, hey, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe we can do it together.
Right.
I didn't think that was his point.
No, but you know what?
no.
Also,
His point was, I don't need you to change how you are. Like, I like you like this, even though for her, in her mind, maybe I could be healthier. Maybe
yeah,
it's good
Right.
for me.
it's not
But-
about how she looks. It's about how healthy.
But see what I'm saying.
How
So
healthy
I'm
she
giving that guy's perspective on that end. It's like, because you
can't
said,
win.
"So what are you trying to say? I don't look good?" I said, that's not what I'm trying to say. But that's why if you're introducing something to him and they're a couple, it's important for the guy the same. He's got to be able to keep up with her. Once she's out there walking, I said, well, then we're gonna walk together.
Well, now he was in great shape. He was in great shape.
Maybe he just,
She
who knows?
wanted to,
But-
and I could see where. So,
then-
so what all that said, that was
So how
10
should a guy?
years
So
ago.
how should he handle that then?
He shouldn't have said anything.
He shouldn't have said anything. He should
Had
have
the
let
video,
her
he's like, oh,
get
that's
the video and make her own call, because it's not even about how she looks.
Okay.
It's about
Okay.
how she feels and how healthy she is.
He
And
came up behind you and looked and said, okay, that's cool. But it really wasn't, it didn't warrant him taking the video out of her hand.
Oh, so
Pulling
the
the
issue is he put the
right.
winner. And
Like,
you took,
we're not doing that.
right.
We're not doing that. Come here, you good.
Oh yeah, 'cause
walk.
now I see the difference.
That was a pivot that I didn't understand. So fast forward 15 years, 10, 15 years, I don't think that would be the conversation now, because we're just thinking differently. It's been inundated in us through media, through, all this stuff, that we think more about whether our actions do it. We are thinking more about our health
Right.
and what we would like to do, what we should do. So I don't expect to see that anymore. I hope not.
Well,
That was deep.
from the guy's perspective, but what I'm still saying, that even though we're inundated with a lot of information about health and women's health and the importance of women's health, if we look at our diets, 90% of when we talk about Black folk, we just 90% of the U.S. population doesn't eat appropriately. They don't eat the 2 to 3 cups of vegetables, and they don't eat the half a cup of fruits or a cup of fruits a day.
they don't.
So no matter what, there's somebody that has to be there to inspire them and get on the right track. Who's going to be the reliable source? Their reliable source, because there's so much stuff in Google. Where do you start?
Where do you start?
That's kind of what we do with Healthy Heritage Sisters Day of Wellness. That's exactly what we do. The conversation is to women about wellness. And we talk about movement, how to get it in. Yeah, I know you got kids, you got work, but how do you get those moments in? It's just, I can't afford a gym, whatever. What are the opportunities? We really try to break it down to be accessible. Then we talk about, we had a psychiatrist this year fabulous. And these are Black women talking to Black women.
When is your event? To say the name of your event again, I know.
Okay, well, this one, which you guys are sponsors, thank you so much, was in December. We're looking to do the next one in May in Raleigh.
Okay.
Still pulling that together. But we had a vegan chef come. And so she did a vegan demo and then provided lunch, catered lunch, so that we could see, and it was delicious.
Mhm.
And I didn't know what vegan was. I mean, I was, I was,
Sounds yucky.
so it was just a really nice opportunity for, just to see things in a different way of what's possible,
Right.
what actually is,
Cool.
tastes good, and
Well, what,
Well,
can I ask you a question? Then are you, because of COVID and because of the acceleration of online programming, so are you able to connect a lot of Black women into the same thing like Peloton? So do you have a Black Warms exercise?
we haven't set it up that way. These are in-person events.
Mhm. But what's happens
So
after?
that's something to think about.
So what happens? Because at the in-person event, everybody's inspired and they're ready to do something. But even if you had, how Peloton has its group and they're
Right, and you get in there and everybody,
you rent my cycle,
right,
and
right.
then you pay an extra couple of dollars.
this is an amazing strategy.
But it's something that people need help. They need an encouragement.
They
And,
do.
and you become that trusted resource. You're at these meetings, you go from wellness, not sickness. You understand the bone
Feeling
health,
good,
talk
feeling
about bone
good.
health all the way through, because a lot of people don't talk about bone health. I mean, we talk about Ricky's mom, but your mom is in 90. And I'm going to ask you, when was the last time, or has she had a bone scan?
I think when she fell, that back then,
Was that an X-ray?
months ago, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Was that an X-ray? I mean,
Yeah, the X-ray, everything's fine.
now you are exercising, so one would predict that you have healthy bones, but have you ever had a bone scan?
I have not.
So
I have
you-
not. I mean, I don't know if it's something that you have to go by these insurance companies. Like, well, do you need one? Are we gonna give you? They start to look at what do you need versus what what might be the best, and maybe it's preventive, and maybe it could be
But yeah,
that way.
because I forget you. So when you reached when you're above 40, then
Right, you start to
You
lose it.
need one.
So-
You need
so-
one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it
yeah.
should be part of, it should be
So-
part of your physical,
Yeah, that's
but,
right.
but. in
But
most
I do
cases,
forget y'all. I do forget you're a couple of years before 40, so that may be the reason why your insurance company don't want
But
cover.
wait a minute, no, I've never been part of my checkup. I've
Yeah.
never.
And it should be part of your checkup, but doctors aren't offering it, and
No.
most people don't know about it to
Mhm.
ask for it, right? Until
Right.
they fall, or until
Until they
something
fall.
happens, right? Or until they start leaning over or whatever, but, or
And your
shrinking
mom's 92.
it, right? When you
Your
start
mom's
shrinking it.
92,
Yeah,
92, and
and she should have a bone scan,
right.
and she should know what her T-score is.
she probably does. That woman is at the doctor
I'm just
once a
saying.
week.
I'm
Yeah.
At
just
some
saying
doctor.
that-
She
But
probably has had every
but
scan
historically, they don't.
agreed.
Many doctors out there
Right.
are not
They're
having
not
this
doing it.
discussion, and we're not talking about 51, 49. I'm talking about 90%, 80, 90% are not
Oh.
having that discussion. Now, you may find a lot of it with Black physicians having that discussion. And
yeah.
you may find it from other groups, but the majority
Interesting.
are not having
Yeah.
that discussion.
Well, I wouldn't have had it if I didn't have cancer. I got
Mm.
from cancer from my oncologist. It wasn't because of anything else. But you guys, I want to go back for 1 second, because I think that one of the things I want to talk about when you start talking about wellness versus illness is, to me, and going to health events, to me, we did a lot of road trips last year to launch our clinical trial campaign. And we actually found the best success where it wasn't a health event. When we went to the health events, like the church health fair, whatever, I felt like I was preaching to the choir. I felt like,
That's true.
and to your point, Dr. Keith, I felt like those people were motivated, coming to get more motivated and to get tools. But I feel like and that was probably, I don't even know what tiny percent of the population was coming to the health events. So what about the people who aren't coming to the health events? And I think blackdoctor.org is here for all of us. And it's such a great resource for any kind of issue that you're having. So we love that. And we're so thankful for this platform, but we still meet people who've never heard of blackdoctor.org. We still meet people who have never gone to a church health fair, have never. So those are the people that are eating the fried chicken and the mac and cheese and not walking, right? And then when
They're
they
at
get
the
to
hair
90,
shows.
they're in trouble.
Right. They're at the hair shows, they're at the nail shows, they're at
And
the,
that's what we went to. We went to hair shows, and
Right.
where we couldn't find, because we caught them off guard to talk about health and cancer.
interesting.
But I think there's so many people who aren't in this inclination to take care of themselves. And it's like this fight, there's enough media, especially in January, New Year's resolutions about losing weight and getting on the diet and whatever,
Inundated.
but still everybody's inundated. And in my gym, I call them the January people. They come back to the gym, they're in the gym, they take up all the parking spaces, they take all the spinning bikes, but they're gone now. What day is it? February. They were gone by February.
You got your spin bike back now.
Yeah, I got my spin bike back. I don't have to fight for it. But it's like, where'd they go and why'd they stop? And like the people who are not in their 90s, who may not make it to their 90s like our moms, but are like our age or in their 40s and 50s that need to be paying attention to their health. And how do we get them? How do we motivate them, Dr. Keith? How do we get them to come to a health fair? I mean, is it bringing a friend, bringing somebody? But there's so many unhealthy people. I mean, the numbers that if you look at the state of Black health, it's horrible.
Well, I do like, to a certain extent, I mean, we have organizations, but I wanted to go back to the church. And so the people that show up at church are the people that are motivated, but the people that show up to church can serve as ambassadors to motivate other people.
Yeah, we need them to do that.
Yeah. And then also, I do really, to a certain extent, you talk about Zumba, right? But I really like line dancing. And that's something that
I love line dancing. That's
yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. And there's so many great line dancing communities. We have this group of women in Maryland. We had it in Chicago. I see it in Chicago, like in most of the major cities, there's that. And I think that's a great thing.
Because that's where you can insert. So
I like that's a great thing.
Why is line dancing important?
Yeah.
And so you're inserting this information. And so now you have line dancing chapters throughout the nation. And then all I want is to bring back Mary J. Blige's fine.
Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of line dancing down here in Raleigh, Durham. And there's a place I go to with my brother called the Stardust Ballroom in New Jersey, right across the bridge from Philadelphia. And I mean, people, it's Black folks, when they're doing these social dances, they're bopping and two-stepping and da-da-da. And everyone, the average age is probably 55, right? So it ranges, there's this range of older
right
Black folks, men and women in decent shape. And I was like, that's the medicine, because they're already feeling great about themselves. They're dressed up, they're dancing, they're moving, they've got this social thing. And I was like, how can I bottle that? Like I wanted to do a study of that segment, because there's Chicago, there's New Jersey, they have big conferences all over the country. They'll go to Las Vegas. I mean, it's a scene of, and they get it, and it feels so good for them. And it's not exercise, right? But they're dancing and they love it.
But it is exercise.
It is exercise. Yeah. But in their mind, they're doing what they love.
They're doing it for fun. They're not.
But see, so the exercise. So the issue is there's exercises and dancing. Let's go out dancing. You don't say let's go out exercise.
No, exactly. And I
Right, right.
love to go out with them. I love to go out dancing with them because it's a social scene. It's you're the dance floor. You're showing off. You got different partners. It's beyond that. But sneaking in is the exercise piece that you're not even
I know.
thinking about
I know.
because you're into the whole piece of it.
And so we've always kind of done that. What we had dancing.
Right.
Yes.
And so now we've lost it to a certain extent. Well, I mean, even before COVID, it was going to down low, not down low, but on the decline. And then COVID hit, and then people aren't doing it anymore. Because
You know, we've been line dancing forever. I mean, I was doing when did we do the bus stop? When I was in junior
Right.
high school. Right. We've been doing so we've been line dancing for years.
mhm.
And I know
There's one
yeah,
called the biker shuffle. That's sweet.
I know, I love that one.
So
What's the new African one where you tap, 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 like, that one? I just learned that one, but
There's
No,
so many of them, you can't even keep up.
maybe we need, to start a movement on that.
You need to
Maybe we need
start
to have a Love Your Bones line dancing club.
Because that is a bone
right.
positive thing to do.
All right, who would come to a love? Well, we used to have a
But you can't-
dance
you can't
party.
say it
We used
for
to have a
your
dance
bones,
party
but
every
you gotta figure out how
Friday.
to say it so that it is for your bone health and it's for your mental health, and you never know who you're gonna.
So you line dancing for your health.
Yes.
basically. Right.
Mhm. I think we came upon an idea. We used to have a dance party for Love Your Bones every Friday.
Yeah, well, yes. So what happened to that?
Remember we did it every Friday, 15 minutes at 3:00 Eastern, at 3 songs. And we sort of just, we just got tired. But I mean, not tired, but it was a lot to do. But I think we're going to start to do that again. We need to do that. Maybe, Dr. Keith, maybe we should either start or end the show with a dance party every show.
Oh,
So about that.
That would be good.
Yeah,
but
about that. But
gotta figure out how to mix that music in.
Yeah.
I know. I think there's something too, though. Maybe there's a Love Your Bones line dancing club that people can join.
Mm.
Valerie in the chat is
that'd be
asking
great.
about can we say the name again of the place in New Jersey? She's in New Jersey, one of our breast.
Stardust Ballroom.
Stardust Ballroom, Val, Stardust Ballroom. And Val said we're also starting the dance party
I want to
again.
say it's in Hampton. It's but it's in you go right over Walt Whitman Bridge and there it is. So if you're familiar with the bridge, if you're in Philly or if you're in that part of Jersey, you can't miss it.
All right, cool. Val will find it. But yeah, I think that we need to do some line dancing. I think that's a good idea because you know what? You got to take the pain out of it. And I know we're learning with breast cancer, like we just started our new campaign for the love of my girls. But
I saw that. That's
yeah,
cute.
I'm gonna show the video at the end just to do a little plug for that. But it's we're trying to just talk about health, Black breast health, Black health, not cancer. And to your point, it's not about illness, it's about wellness.
Wow.
What can we be doing to take better care of ourselves, to take better care of our bones, and to think about it and not be influenced by some idiot man that says, don't do the video, girlfriend. That's ridiculous.
All right.
Look at Lizzo. She's like, I mean, whoever can do her on stage workout.
Right.
Right. And she's a Peloton
ambassador. Yeah. And I love Peloton, but Peloton costs too much money. Okay. I mean,
Right.
like,
And plus, if you get on the Zoom, you got to pay unless that's free.
Oh,
now.
really? Well, I've been spinning.
Great.
I've been spinning for years. Okay, I've been spinning since '98. It was one of my favorite things to do. But you don't need a Peloton to do it, and frankly, you don't need a gym membership to get exercise.
But it's
right up there on the pavement, and it's put your clothes on outside.
If you know what you're doing,
if you don't
and
do
there's
it,
a lot of videos out there, on YouTube and all that. To your point, that you should be able to step yourself in without having to go to the gym, but it's still anyway.
it's something to be said about. There's something called the it's like prayer of 8 or having 8 people together when you pray.
Mm.
Oh yeah, okay. Mhm.
It's having people. There's a consciousness. There is a feeling. See, you don't have to be in the same room to be inspired.
Right.
And so, is it easier to exercise with a friend? Yes. Is it easier to exercise with a group? Or so it's called the power of 8. And so it's the power 8 when we're talking about praying and thinking positive and being very spiritual. That power of 8 translates into also things that you do when we talk about exercise. Can 8, so you have these, you don't have to have 50 or 60 people, but can you put together 4 to 5 women throughout, and you have your little exercise or dance group, and you're on Zoom?
It's you're connecting, you're motivating each other.
Right.
That's the concept, but it's not on Zoom, of Girl Trek and Black Girls Do Bike.
Yeah, yeah,
It's communities that
Yeah.
that so your girlfriends don't want to exercise and you want to do something and you're trying to find, but you don't, how can you find a posse of like-minded women,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you have a new, you still have your friends, but now you have a new group that is speaking to the things
Your
you
needs.
like to
Right.
do.
Yes. Because no matter what, everyone needs encouragement. Everybody falls back.
Everybody needs
Okay.
it.
And so just someone there who's going to be supportive versus someone who's going to say, "Go, girl, you don't need to do that today." I said, like, no, I need to do it. And then you
do
have
it.
somebody-
And I have those reps at my event. I
Right.
make sure they're at the event, and they are inundated when they're there. I mean, these women over, how do I join? How do where do I? And so now, of course, if you digital, so it's not like sign up. You can go on,
Right.
go on their site, whatever. But these women are actually asking them questions, like, they didn't know that these groups existed. I don't know what others are, but the two biggest African American or women groups are Girl Trek and Black Girls Do Bike.
Right.
Yeah. And they're doing great stuff. Girl Treks, we've partnered with them a little bit, but they're doing really great stuff on walking.
But those are younger folks.
No,
No.
they're all ages. They're all ages, Dr. Keith. The women who
Don't let
started
the
are
girl
younger.
term fool you at all. It's not
Okay,
girls.
so, but the point is, if a person's looking, well, that sounds like it's just for young women. It's not for women in their
Yeah,
above 50.
yeah,
and
branding,
above.
yeah.
Yeah, the branding could be different. And they do a lot of marketing on social media, which also do exclude a bigger, older audience. But I mean,
Because that older audience is Facebook.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if-
so
No, they're on Facebook.
they're on Facebook. They're on Facebook. But I think how they work, and I don't know a lot about them, is they have chapters around the country in
Yes.
different cities.
Right,
They sort of gravitate to a chapter. And I mean, if you go online and find their website, you can, but you can do that too. And all of us can do that, get a bunch of girlfriends. And even if you can do it virtually, like FaceTime each other at 8 o'clock in the morning when you're taking a walk. And we were even doing that for a while. People were, because I walk pretty much every day and I was trying to call people and walk. It's just hard to keep the schedules together. But I think it's also just a consciousness,
Mhm.
a consciousness saying, I'm going to do better. I'm going to change my
Right.
outcomes.
Right.
I'm going to become healthy. Like when I was, I don't want to be in a wheelchair with like my mother is when I'm 90. And
Mhm.
my motivation to do better. Thank God I never smoked and I don't have COPD.
Mhm. I'm
But
laughing about it. I'm laughing. I said, like, so what is Ricky gonna look like on that board when she? I said, like,
I know I have been.
okay, let me just go back a little bit. Okay.
I'm gonna be out there on my board. Okay, I'm gonna be out there on my board.
Like going down.
I
push
told her, she actually, because I said, she inspired me. I want to do it, but I can't find
I'm
anybody
gonna
to
be
do
out
it
there.
with.
I know. I know I had a dream actually not like a while ago. My daughter's like, I was the old lady and I guess I was not with it in the brain. And so I told the caregiver that like, I wanted to go paddleboarding and my daughter's like, it's okay. Just put her on the paddleboard.
She got it.
She's
She'll
like
be fine.
teaching people down.
She'll be back. She'll come back. I promise you. She
Mhm.
may not be able to think clearly, but she'll be
But-
back.
Ricky, you hit the nose on you hit the nail on the head with the idea of what motivates you. And for you, it's, I want to have, I envision myself with a certain quality of life at a certain age. Motivation is everything. So we can have this conversation all day long. And unless someone has a motivation,
Yeah.
it's like a drug addict. It's like, any other bad thing, women who get abused, you're like, why do you stay there? Or why do you keep taking these drugs? They're bad. And it's like, what is your motivation for changing your behavior, changing what you're doing? And that is the elixir that I'm always trying to, work with is.
Yeah.
Well, so, but let me ask you a question. So Ricky, respectfully, was the motivation to change your life after the cancer event? Because you weren't rowing before.
Yeah.
Level of exercise and that, because you were, intense, hardworking woman, businesswoman out there, and you have children. Now you have grandchildren, but the fact that there was something that disrupted your life, that was the motivating event. And now,
Well, but I was a dancer growing up, so I've always
right,
been a fitness bend, you know what I mean? I went straight from dancing to jam fun to workout to whatever, to step aerobics, and I've been spinning for a long time. So I don't think I'm a good example, because I have had, now when I got cancer, I changed how I exercise. And I think when I started paddleboarding, it wasn't for the exercise, it was for the peace.
the piece.
And when I go out there when the sun is rising, and it's me and God and the water. And like, I even like it in the wintertime, because there's no boats out there. Nobody's out there when I go out there, and it's crazy, but it was for the peace.
Were you out there yesterday?
I was not out there yesterday.
I
was not out there today. I may go tomorrow, but
okay, I'm like, okay, I was like, Rick is
45, 50 degrees is kind of my limit, as long as the water's calm. But you know what, it was about the peace, but also then I learned that it was about exercise. And then guess what? You get peace from exercise. Hello.
right.
That's a whole nother conversation.
So my question is how there's a disruptive event in people's lives. How do we not get to the disruptive event before you recognize?
Before something happens, or you know what? Well, what's the kid who just died of a heart attack at 22? I mean, or had the heart attack on the football field. That should motivate somebody to think about heart disease, right? We had the red dress thing at church today. We did the red dress links thing on Friday. Like, there's a lot of stuff around people to sort of make them aware of health and disease, but it's still not hitting them. And high blood pressure is silent in so many people till they have a stroke, right? So I don't know what the secret sauce is to make people aware who aren't aware. And that's what we have to work towards, because guess what? They may not have been getting a physical every year. They're definitely not asking for a bone scan.
Right. And so now then that goes back to changing exercise to line dancing, or
or just
movement.
taking a walk with your dog, getting
something.
Grab some coffee and taking a walk.
Oh, yeah.
a puppy, right?
Because we have to talk about the issue of exercise, and then we have to talk about the issue of nutrition. And then a lot of people don't recognize that a large percentage of folks are malnutrition does not necessarily mean you have to be thin.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've always talked from the other side. I've always, I don't like to put the personal trainer hat on, because I don't, I try to steer more into wellness and, that piece. But the personal training motto is, I can't train a bad diet.
Right.
That's the motto. I can do all I can, but I can't be with you when you're making decisions that have.
You have to have it in your head. Yeah.
No,
you have to have
then what's your diet? What's the diet?
Well, that's,
I don't know.
That there's plenty of information about what your diet should be. It's inundated. You can't get
right,
away
but
from
see,
what diet should
interesting what you said was there's plenty of information, but you're my trusted resource.
Yeah. So you know what's wrong to begin with? The word diet.
Right.
As soon as you say the word diet, it says
and what they mean by that is right. You can't say
like, what are you eating? To me, like, change the language. What are you eating? Like, what are you putting in your body?
Because you're eating
so
to
then
live.
You say, I can't train what I can't, what you're eating.
So,
right.
That really is it. I mean, diet has gotten a bad connotation, but we all know that diet is what you eat. Not necessarily.
So if you're high performing, by going to you being a trainer, you're training a high performance in a person, and high performance requires certain food types to really optimize that training experience that you provide.
It's true.
But what do you eat, Benita? Yeah, don't ask me what I eat either.
Yeah, I'm not. I try to make sure I cover all the basics. I mean, for lunch, I used to say about grab a lean cuisine in a minute because it tells me how many calories. I know exactly what I'm getting. It might have a little more sodium than I want, but it keeps me contained in a, in a box of this is lunch, and then I might have a piece of fruit with peanut butter for snack in the afternoon. For dinner, it ranges from, it could be salmon, it could be chili with turkey, or it could be Burger King. It ranges. There's no limitation. I'm not gonna say what I'm not going to eat, but I'm going to eat, or if but you try to stay in a range of,
Is that a
have I
caloric?
had vegetables? Have I had this? And today is the day I need to rush out and I don't have time to cook, so I'm going to grab this.
So it's a caloric range or food site range?
I'm in the caloric range. I do, portions is everything to me. I think once you understand portions and once you understand listening to your body and when it's full, I think a lot of opportunities open up in terms of what you eat and how you eat and, those eating decisions. Really being in tune with, what's going to, and the term is, do you eat to live or do you live to eat?
Exactly. Eat to live.
Right. I tend to eat to live. Some people live to eat. They love their foodies, and you can't change who you are. If you love food and you're thinking about dinner at breakfast, you need people. You got to respect that, and so and you need to understand yourself and say, how am I going to work around this? Because you have a different viewpoint.
And what am I going to do? I had a friend tell me yesterday, well, I work out so I can eat.
And I've been told that too.
So eat what?
Whatever she wants.
So say, for example, if I put on that scientist hat and it's not whatever you want, but it's what are the things that your body needs to have.
You can say that, but if I'm looking for satisfaction in my eating journey, what I can have and what I might want to eat, if I can, you want to blend those two
right
together so that you're enjoying, because that's the piece of the nutrition piece that we really have to work with, is what's enjoyable.
Right, but then do you then provide something that helps me broaden my palate? Because remember, we're restricted to what a lot of people are restricted to, what the marketing
Yes.
is there. And so said you had the vegan chef at that time. That to me that basically broadened the palate or what's available to people, because now you can have this for this particular flavor. We're looking for texture. We're looking for the heat. So there's so much out there.
Yeah, like chicken salad.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Mm.
But it was educational. And I think that really it was the kind of thing where those women are like, when are you going to do? Are you going to do this next year? Mm-hmm. And I believe they will bring others, or it'll start, because, and also we had a dermatologist there talking about beauty anti-aging, because you want to bring in something that is going to be, that's part of wellness too, but it kind of not soften the conversation of exercise and nutrition.
But it's holistic, aren't you?
Huh?
It's a kind of a holistic approach.
It's a holistic
diet,
approach.
and then
diet.
And your diet influences your. Sorry for the delay, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know. They could be talking about. You have a dermatologist in there. She's talking about skincare. She could be talking about Botox. She could be talking about hyaluronic acid or and that's interesting. So to your point, Ricky, when you're saying people don't necessarily want to come to health fairs, those who are coming are already coming because they already, know they need to know this, already know this, and they're coming. Now you're talking to people like, oh, I do want to know a little bit about, what's that Botox? Because now I've got you in here.
Right.
Now we're having all this conversation, but it's broadened the focus so that hopefully I'm making it more of a total picture.
Yeah.
Of health that includes beauty.
And accused beauty. And we're all worried about the wrinkles and the sagging eyes and the whatever. And
And whether we are or not, we're like, "Ooh, look," you know, and a lot of us are. I mean, but it's just an interesting topic to have at an event that is going to, you know, kind of even out the hard
all
conversation
the health
of
stuff.
eating and
Yeah.
nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So maybe it's like holistic health. So you're not just, again, talking about wellness versus illness, but it's holistic health. So if you want to be beautiful and you know, when you get the fake eyelashes on, you also want to make sure you ate the chicken and the vegetables today, or like
Right.
try to
Mhm.
combine.
Or one of the conversations was, as we get older, we tend to not look happy, even if we are happy. You know, we might look stern and we're not. So I remember one, I don't know if you know Dr. Susan Taylor, but she's in Pennsylvania. She's in Philadelphia, and I guess she's retired now, but she's one of the top Black female dermatologists in the
Mhm.
country. And this was part of her business. But, and she spoke I did this event in Philadelphia, and she spoke in a very realistic way. She said, sometimes you don't want to look stern. You just want to soften your look. You just want to, maybe it gives you a perspective at work where you're not, people aren't looking at you as like, oh Lord, she got 2 more years before she's out of here. And so it's not about necessarily even beauty. It's about how do you, make yourself, if you're doing your inside and you're
Right.
doing your exercise and eating right, then, why don't you add this other piece? And it's not a requirement, but it's just an interesting conversation.
Well, because that whole issue of eating right and what you put in your body also impacts how your skin.
Thank you.
And that's why even when we start looking at skin and cosmetics, the more natural or the less with chemicals in them, the more healthier skin can be in makeup.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a
Right.
whole different, because I have a
Right.
problem
And
about
it's something I don't want to dwell on. I just add that as having another piece to your point, Ricky, of trying to make this conversation more fun
right.
while you're still getting, as
Right.
opposed to being at a health fair and it's going to be pretty serious.
Right.
Because
Like,
what you're basically doing is creating a health manual without, your memoirs, your personal memoirs about yourself. And
Right.
and instead of it becoming the health issue, it really goes back to you as an individual and how to best be the best woman that you can be.
right.
Exactly. With quality of life. At the end of the day, that is my bottom line mantra. Quality. Well, how do you want to live your life? How do you want to end it? I say we skid into the grave jumping from a parachute. Like just, at 90, I jump from the parachute and then that's when I go in because I can do that because I have the ability, I can live my life to the very fullest, to the very end.
Bury me on Mars.
Right?
Like when y'all get to Mars, just take me to, then I'll go.
I want to be on Mars.
But I think
because I had a relative. It was bad because he goes, well, I said I'm gonna die the day we have a Black president. I was like,
Don't do it.
that's what she said. That's what she said. I said I don't want you to die, but we're gonna have a Black president.
right.
I know. I take that back. I'm not sliding into nobody's grave yet. I said that's good. But
I know,
yeah.
but we have to figure out how to crack this health nut and make everybody feel good about it, because there's so many diseases that we don't need to have, like osteoporosis,
Mhm.
there's a lot of cancers you can prevent, Dr. Keith, if you get a PSA test, right? I mean, talk about cancer, but heart disease, and it's heart month, and get people inclined to do the right thing by them for their body.
Because if I look at it, the exercise or being active, an active lifestyle, because now let's go back to the term.
You don't want to, exercise is a tough term.
Yes. Lifestyle activities.
Yes.
What is it?
Right.
Now it's just like, well, what are your lifestyle activities? What do you do? And because dancing is a lifestyle, and dancing promotes
every day.
Mm-hmm.
I dance every day.
So, and then having a very broad food palette helps from a nutritional standpoint.
Right.
And then there's your mind, because we're going back to mind, body, and spirit again.
It all blends.
It
Yeah.
all blends. It's all
All blends.
connected. It's all connected. It's all connected.
And Ricky kind of embodies that when, the mind, body, and spirit, because that you talked about when you're out on the water in the morning, and I don't even have to be there, but that vision of the rising sun, since I know you're on the East Coast in Annapolis, you can see the rising sun.
Yeah.
And in the calm water and the peacefulness to start your day. Even that message
Is a motivation.
is a motivational message.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, I do it on Facebook Live every now and then. So not in the winter, because I'm not, I don't want to mess with falling in the water. But even that.
But I say that, and another thing too is that sometimes I think that, like Benny, that we're never going to be 100%, but every life that you touch, if you're not there doing what you're doing, there are all these lives that will never be touched. So we can't say we can snap our fingers and everybody's doing the same thing, but every time, every week, every time you have an event, every person you speak to, you inspire them. And yes, they may not be 100%, but for one day, for 1 month, they try, and they know they can go back to you.
You plant the seed, constantly
Plant the seed. You have to plant the seed. So, so I'm going to take that and do a shameless plug for our new campaign. So, and Haley, this is all Haley and Emily, they kept me out of this because I was too old, but we really wanted to.
I said, well, they must be in junior high school.
Anyway.
They in junior high school.
They kicked me out the room, but we really wanted to talk about Black breast health with young women. And, from our HBCU internship, we've learned that when we ask these young women to, who are all brilliant and awesome, to have a conversation with their moms about breast health, they've never had one before. And so we kind of put the responsibility on, okay, you guys, you have to be the one to go home, go to the family union, talk about it at Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, and make your family talk about health. Who got a bone scan? Who got a PSA? What's your A1C? And have these conversations. So we launched this campaign about Black breast health, because we know Black breast cancer is a different disease. And frankly, Black prostate cancer is a different disease. Black men are dying. Black bone health is a different disease. Our diseases are different. We don't know whether the drugs work because they were never tested on our bodies. So we want it to be a consciousness about health. So I'm going to play our little video here that we launched last week and show you. And you guys can kind of see how we're sort of approaching this. So this is our cool website, loveofmygirls.org. But I'm going to play this.
I love the image.
Oh, I'm up already.
Girl. For the love of my girls.
Black women under 35 get breast cancer at 2 times the rate of white women.
And die at 3 times the rate.
It's up to us to take care of our girls.
The only solution is conversation.
I choose Black breast health because protecting my girls means protecting all Black girls.
I unlock my her story by talking with my family about our shared health history to know my personal risk.
I get to know my girls as an act of self-care. Are you ready to get in touch with your girls? Visit
loveofmygirls.org to get in touch with your girls.
All right.
Cute, right?
Ricky,
Can I release that now? Because I've been
that is so cool.
You can release it. You can release it. But we've gotten some good feedback too already. But it's about checking your girls when you get your nails done. Checking your girls when you change your hairdo, and making it part of your self-care as a part of something that's a chore and about health and cancer. There's nothing about cancer in this. It's all about health. And so if we could do that across all of our lives for every aspect of it, it would make us all healthier. So.
And I like that role because when I was at Prairie View at the October 1st or
Uh-huh.
that week of October 1st, I was at basically this was a health fair that was hosted by the health center. And I spoke about prostate cancer and breast cancer. And it was so important because the young women didn't have a lot of information about it. And
Yeah.
that's why I think that the video
Yeah.
is going to be very important because I've already, when I was there was a young woman, I haven't had a chance to give her your information, who was diagnosed.
A baby, another baby being diagnosed.
I've had a couple of friends whose daughters were diagnosed. I was shocked.
Yeah, the numbers for young Black women are huge.
They were,
And it's
yeah.
because getting a mammogram at age 40 is too late for us. And they're getting dismissed. But again, that's why we have to be the CEO of our own health.
Right.
You have to ask the doctor for the bone scan. And you have to like figure out what's going to work best for you. And you have to go do the line dancing. But you know, it's all of those things. It's all of those things, staying healthy.
And having leadership or guidance or mentors, or because that's what you guys are, mentors. You know, whether it's a lifestyle mentor or breast mentor, young women are looking for that mentorship, that older sister.
Right. And that older brother, hey, the brothers need it too, you know. You need to smack that brother that told that girl not to do the video.
I said, look, yeah, that's not the way to do it.
It was just a revelation of it was a cultural revelation that I needed to understand.
Yeah.
But the idea then is that when they do that, then how to respond.
Right, how to respond. Yeah, you know, how to respond. Well, I'm big boned. Well, yeah, we hear that all the time. But are you healthy? Is your heart pumping well? Are your bones in order? You know, like, do you know what's really going on the inside? Because we only have one of these bodies. All we got is one.
Are you taking vitamin D?
Right.
So I told you before.
Right.
What do we say? And I told him in 2020.
Yep.
Came out about vitamin D, and now reports come out that, oh yeah, by the way, you should take vitamin D, especially people, because you're not getting your vitamin D levels are low, and the majority of you guys are deficient in vitamin D, and vitamin D plays a role in protecting you against COVID. So yeah, a whole population of people who are vitamin D deficient, especially Black folks in the North.
Especially Black.
In the North.
Yeah.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Well, we've been telling people too, make sure you check your vitamin D before you start chemo. Because we don't know, we're seeing like after the second chemo, they're crashing. It's because they don't have vitamin D in there. They don't have sufficient vitamin D. So, whoa. So, Benita.
All this information you're not hearing in mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not talking about this on, even though, you know, have of what people listen to CNN, MSNBC, Fox. You're not hearing this stuff about us.
No, you're not.
And it's a one and done. So it's hard to, if it's a one and done, you're going to hear it. And then
that's it.
You got to hear it 6, 7, it's just all the time.
Over and over and over again. Repeat. Right. So Benita, how can people find you and learn about your events and see what you're doing and watch you?
So we're at www.bennigirl, BENNIEGIRL.com. Or if that's hard to remember, healthyheritagelifestyle.com.
I got you. I'm putting it.
Is that
they go to the same place, but it's just two different ways to read it.
What did you say? What did you say about the lifestyle one?
Healthyheritagelifestyle.com.
Got it. All right. I'm putting them both in the chat.
So is that the Webster spelling of girl? Or is that the original spelling?
The Ricky spelling, right?
Benny. Yeah, I'm named after my father. So his name is Benny. So, and I used to be called Benny Girl. That was my nickname. Okay. So it just came to me, and I just did it.
Oh no, I like the name. I was just trying to figure out if it's Ricky Girl or is it girl with the IR.
I know.
I said you better get that one too, girl. Listen, get that IP, not IP, but get the address.
So I got it right. Healthyheritagelifestyle.org or .com?
.com.
Okay, I got you. All right, it's in the chat.
So we can pass it around.
Yeah.
Please do.
In the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they need, it's very for them to hear your story, your voice, and
Yeah.
your experience.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
we
I
have,
know when they see you, because they're not gonna say, I'm just saying with Ricky. And somebody said, like, how old is she? I said, I don't speak about ladies' ages, but I
it's
know
not,
she's under 40.
but on the site, we have webinars and blogs talking about all these things.
That's
Okay.
great.
You know,
So everybody
so,
check it out. Check out bennygirl.com.
Okay, all right. Well,
And you have to come back and talk to us again.
I'll
I
pass
would
it
love
on.
to.
So I'll pass it on to relatives and friends.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm coming up to paddleboard. So
All right. Anytime I'm
Okay.
here. Come on up.
it has to get a little warmer first, but when it gets
It's
a little
gotta get a little warmer. I know
Coming up.
there was ice in the bay yesterday.
Yeah.
There really was ice in the bay. And the bay that, the bay is like, hard, salty water, and it's frozen, man. So this is not the day to do it.
that's not cool. Okay.
No, because that's colder than cold.
No.
That's colder than cold.
It's
When the bay
cold.
freezes, that's
When
colder
the
than
base is
cold.
cold, that's right. Mm, Whatever.
Well, thank you. We hope you've enjoyed
Thank
our
you.
show.
Thank
Come
you.
back in a month. We'll be back on the last Sunday of March. Gosh, how did it get to be February? The last Sunday of March, we'll be here, and check out Benita's website. Check out, touchbbca.org, and check out
The
Dr.
girls.
Keith's website.
And send us some emails about some line dancing songs.
Yeah, we're
Dancing-
gonna work on
dancing
line
with
dancing,
the Benny Girl dances.
the Benny Girl
Hey.
dances. There you go. Well, we're gonna work on a Love Your Bones.
Line
Your
dance.
bones.
We need
Line
to
dance.
do that, Ricky. That is
All right, Dr.
that's a
Keith.
great.
I'm gonna
My
get
my song is by Mary J. Blige. Fine, fine, fine.
all right, I got you.
Is that
Okay.
a line? That one?
We
I'm gonna
got you.
look for that one. Okay.
We're gonna make a line dance. I'm gonna get Haley working on that.
Okay.
You may have to. There's some footwork in there. I know how to do it, but I don't think everybody else can do it. But I like it.
All right, well, why don't you make it up? Well,
yeah,
we'll talk later.
No, it's already made. You're talking
It
about
is
something
already
that
made.
already
It's
exists.
already
Oh, all right,
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna have to show us how to do it.
all right.
Or I can do the biker shuffle. The biker shuffle. I think is I think everybody can get the biker shuffle.
All right, so we're gonna have a dance party. Maybe
Okay,
not
so-
this Friday, but next Friday. I'm like, look for our social media, because Dr. Keith is gonna premiere his line dance, and I'll do it in our dance first. We'll have it in a couple weeks. Check out our social media for that. Touch
The biker
Plan.
shuffle.
Plan.
Touch BBCA. Well, we will go live on Instagram and Facebook for this. Okay, honey?
I have to
Get
get a camera.
ready.
I have to go to the studio.
All right, get ready.
All right.
Love your bones. I'm gonna call you.
Okay.
That. Love your bones, everybody. Love your bones.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Benita.
Bye.
Bye.